Hey, you're listening to Wrestling Roundup, FreeFM 89.0, and this is your host, Grady Hooker. We're going to do things a little differently today, as I've got an interview with KPW star Scarlett, and I'll play you the first half now and the second half of the interview later on in the show. So here you go. Well, for the listeners that might not know anything about you, could you just maybe say a bit about yourself?
Yeah, I'm Scarlett. I wrestle for Kiwi Pro Wrestling. We're based here in Wellington, but we do shows up and down the country as well. I've been wrestling since about April 2012. I debuted, and been training for a little while before that.
How long have you been in the local wrestling scene, Scarlett?
If we talk about how long I've been around, it's a very, very long time. I might show up my age if I say how long, but since the beginning of time. But yeah, I remember going to like Mania shows up in Auckland many, many years ago, well over 10 years ago. And I've been following it for a very long time. I was living down in Christchurch, so I used to fly up and down the country just to watch the wrestling shows. So it's been a big part of my life for a very long time, that's for sure.
Okay, do you still get nervous when you're heading out?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there'd be something wrong with you if you didn't get nervous. Even if you're confident going into a match, just that couple of seconds before you go through the curtain when your music hits, you just kind of think, here we go. It's like going down a roller coaster. Once you start, you can't stop. So it's all full steam ahead. So yeah, still get the nerves, but I think with every match I'm having, the nerves are about different things. It's just about hoping that the crowd will get behind you and you don't so much freak out about tripping over your own feet and things. I had a terrible run when I was with New Zealand Wide Pro Wrestling. It seemed like every single show I would trip over coming up or down the ring steps, and I just got to the point I don't use the steps anymore. It's just a jinx for me. So yeah, so you learn what you get scared of and you just avoid it, really.
Okay, if you could wrestle sort of any female wrestler from any sort of time period, who'd you wrestle?
It has to be Victoria Tara. She's huge inspiration for me. An amazing woman. So yeah, I'd face her. And if we picked her at any sort of part of her career, right now she's looking phenomenal. She's stronger than she's ever been. She's so fit and agile. So yeah,
and from what I understand, she's a free agent at the moment, so we could bring her over here.
Yeah, if you'd like to bring her over to New Zealand, I'll face her. I'd be more than happy to do that. Yeah, that'd be amazing. Especially she's free, yeah. Okay,
have you had a favourite match over your years of wrestling?
Yeah, I've had a few. Definitely facing off with Nurse Payne last year at KPW Halloween Hell. We had a really good little match for the women's title. It was a shame that I didn't come up with it, but I was pretty green, so but I really enjoyed that match. And they're all favourites really. But I think every time you go out, you learn a little bit more. I have to admit, the most fun match I've had was for the Hughes Academy up in Auckland. My intended opponent was injured about literally 20 minutes before the match started, and we were racing around trying to figure out something, and we decided that it would be a good idea for me to face off against a young gentleman named Danger Donahue, so I got to beat up a boy.
And that's not a usual situation in pro wrestling, is it?
No, generally they try and keep the boys and the girls apart. Just, I think there's a little bit of a sexism thing going on there. They think the girls can't run with the boys, but there's definitely a few girls around New Zealand. We can definitely go toe-to-toe with the boys. So
we see it a bit more in New Zealand as well. Like there's been the mixed rumble-style matches as well.
Yeah. And I think as long as you're in there and you know what you're doing, then there's no problem. Clearly, if I get punched in the face by a guy, I'm going to go down. But when it comes to just technical wrestling and stuff like that, yeah, there's a lot of girls around New Zealand that can definitely hold their own. We've got some amazing talent at the moment. So it's good when we do get to mix it up with the guys. And I think even those little interactions and rumbles and things, you're always going to learn something that you can take into your next match against the female opponents. And
yeah,
it just makes it a little bit clearer.
I think personally, if there's anywhere where there's been massive growth in New Zealand, and probably the most impressive I've seen, it would be the women's divisions across all of the different wrestling federations in New Zealand.
I think, we all know we've got to try a little bit harder. We don't want to be just a fluff match on the show. It's not just out there for, for eye candy or anything like that. The girls really set the bar. You've definitely got the girls in IPW, and Evie is amazing. And she sets the bar for female wrestling, not just in New Zealand, but, we're seeing globally. She's made such a name for herself. So when you've got someone setting a standard like that, you really, you've got to up your game. You can't just get out there and pull some hair and have a cat fight. You've got to get out there and wrestle a good, strong match.
Okay, so you can hear the second part of that later on. For now, we'll go to our classic entrance theme of the week. It's the fabulous Freebirds' Bad Street USA. That was the fabulous Freebirds song. You're back on Wrestling Roundup, FreeFM 89.0 with Grady Hooker, and in the studio right now I've got Phid.
Yeah, it's the Kiwi show this week.
Yep. Okay, if we start off with Raw, it actually started off with Brad Maddox using his GM position.
Yep.
Lots of people seem to want to tell him what to do.
Yeah, Brad's, I can see, he's going to try and be the glad-handed crowd pleaser.
Yeah.
But he's definitely a pawn in a bigger game at the moment.
Definitely. But whose pawn is he? Is he Vince's, Triple H's, or Stephanie's?
I think it's going to... I think it looks like it's Vince at the moment, but I actually think you'll find it'll be Steph.
Okay. The opening match was Fandango taking on Randy Orton.
Yeah, if I remember right, Fandango actually gave him a run for his money.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this crowd was probably the best crowd I've seen in ages. I mean, I think last time I was here was just after WrestleMania, last time I was on your show.
Yep.
And see, that's where I set the bar at the moment, is the Raw after WrestleMania is the best crowd. This one here is probably the closest we've seen in a long time.
Fair enough. It was definitely a great match between the two of them, with Orton picking up the win at the end of it.
Yep.
But more interestingly, backstage, Dolph Ziggler broke up with AJ Lee.
I will be there for you, AJ, if you need someone to cry with. Cry on my shoulder.
I think she's got big ear.
I can take him.
Definitely saw this coming after the event at Money in the Bank.
Yeah, I mean, Ziggler's been heading in the direction of becoming... going to the good side again.
Yeah.
For a while, and this has just cemented the fact that he's now on the white side and she's still on the, I want to say on the dark side, but it could be taken the wrong way.
Fair enough. Mark Henry comes out, he cuts quite a good promo, but the important part being the Shield attack him at the end of it.
Yeah, do you think we're seeing a change in direction for Henry at the moment?
I definitely think after the events of SmackDown, where he comes out and saves the Usos, that he's turning onto his lighter side.
Yeah, and we seem to see this with Henry like every 12 months or so. I think this has probably been the longest run we've seen him as a bad guy. It's been, a year and a half, 2 years?
Yeah.
But it was at one stage almost a yearly flip for him.
Yeah.
I like him as a good guy.
Fair enough.
This last run as a bad guy, though, has been a lot more believable in the past than in the past.
Yeah.
I think the last time I believed him as a bad guy was when he was in the Nation of Domination.
Yeah, quite a bit back.
Yeah.
Okay, the next match was Alberto Del Rio taking on Dolph Ziggler in a rematch.
Yeah. I actually did. That was a big meh fight for me, that one.
It was a weird finish with AJ ringing the bell to distract them.
And I actually saw that match purely as something to give AJ a chance to come out. It's a fight we've all seen a million times in the last year.
Yeah, but at the end of it, Biggie Langston laid out Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah, I know. Now, that was a finish I wasn't expecting. For some reason, I thought Big E was going to stay aligned with Ziggler. They sucked me right in.
Yeah. But will we see a Ziggler-Big E actual match coming up?
I think it's on the cards. I do think it's on the cards. You'll end up having Big E being, with a lack of a better word, thing. What's your name? AJ's pawn.
Yep. Okay.
AJ's fist piece.
Yeah. R-Truth came out.
Came out rapping again.
Yeah.
I love the fact that Truth's back on that microphone. He's awesome.
Wasn't on the microphone too long before the Wyatt family.
Oh, I love these guys. I've loved these guys since NXT. And it's not normal for WWE to bring someone in from NXT and let them carry on what they were doing in the yellow ropes.
Yeah.
And they've allowed them to cross over completely, and it's awesome because that was a brilliant angle in NXT, and it's even going to be a better angle in Raw. I can't wait to see where this is going to go.
Yeah, I'm unsure as who they're going to take on as a solid feud.
I think this is the genius behind it. I mean, they've gone after Kane at the moment, saying Kane's forgotten.
Yeah.
I mean, we've all seen this before as well. I hope that it progresses further because we've all seen, Kane, you've forgotten the monster that you used to be. That's a tired storyline, but I think the Wyatts will do it in a completely different, twisted way.
Okay.
Could be awesome.
Well, the next match was a tag team match. The Real Americans took on the Usos.
Oh, the Real Americans are stupid. I honestly see this as the most ridiculous thing on wrestling at the moment, those two.
Okay.
I don't get it. I don't get it at all.
But do you like Zeb Coulter as a
I
manager?
love Zeb Coulter.
So you just think they're using him wrong?
No, I think they're using Zeb perfectly. They're using Zeb perfectly, and I like Swagger the way he is. I just think it's ridiculous putting Cesaro in there.
Okay.
Cesaro is a brilliant wrestler. He doesn't need to be tagged with somebody else.
Fair enough.
Whereas I think Swagger needs Zeb.
Okay.
We've seen Swagger on his own. He can't hold his own. And Zeb Coulter's an old hand with wrestling.
Yep.
He knows the business inside and out.
Okay. Well, we'll cut to our current entrance theme of the week. It's AJ Lee's Let's Light It Up. That was AJ Lee's entrance theme. You're back with Wrestling Roundup, FreeFM 89.0, Grady and Phid. We'll go back to Raw where we left off. Damian Sandow taking on Christian.
Yeah. Sandow, the dirty, devious, bloody Sandow.
Mr. Money in the Bank.
Mr. Money in the Bank. I think it's cool that he's been given this opportunity. I think Christian has been... It's good to see Christian back in the ring as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've missed him.
Well, the match itself being a bit overshadowed by Cody Rhodes attacking Sandow.
Yeah. Where's this going?
I predicted a while back Sandow would take on Rhodes with the briefcase on the line, possibly.
Oh, that one there could be an interesting one to go down. See, I assumed it would go down the line of the typical old school storyline where Cody will flip, become a good guy, and you'll just end up with a rivalry. But I like that way of thinking. Your idea is cool.
Okay. Outside the arena, Vicky Guerrero's lobbying to get a position back.
Yeah, and I hope she does get a position.
Well, as we saw over on SmackDown, Vince gave her the general manager of SmackDown.
Yep. I think it's a better position for her.
Yeah.
When I was watching Raw, I was hoping that they would find somewhere to slot her in. Vicky, as much as... and we all love to hate Vicky, and that's why she needs to be there. She's the best bad guy on Raw.
But what are we to do with Teddy Long and Booker T now?
I don't care what you do with Booker. Booker was an amazing wrestler. If he's not in the ring, I don't care about him.
Okay.
Teddy, they need to find somewhere for Teddy.
Yep.
That guy's a legend. If you do ever get the chance as well, check out the Wrestling Roundtable with Teddy Long on Black History Month. It's an amazing episode of the Wrestling Roundtable.
Okay.
It gives you the full rundown on his history.
Okay, jumping back to Raw, we had a Divas match. Brie Bella took on Naomi.
That was a good fight.
Yeah.
Now, Naomi, she's been very much overlooked as a diva.
Definitely.
And in this fight, we saw how good she is.
Yep.
And she's not built like what we are used to seeing with a diva.
Yeah.
What we're used to is either the pretty skinny girl or the big muscly girl.
Yeah.
And she is built like a woman.
Yeah, fair enough.
She's built like a real woman, and she moves really well. She's a great wrestler. I think she could become something very big.
My main problem with this match is that the commentators wouldn't shut up about the Total Divas show.
Oh, aren't we all over that?
Yep.
Yeah, we realise WWE, you've got a partnership with E Network.
Yep.
I don't care.
Fair enough.
But this isn't just a E problem. This is a WWE problem where they're forever undermining the women wrestling with talking about other crap during their matches.
Yep.
I'm over it.
Fair enough. Well, next, CM Punk came out. He called out Heyman and Lesnar. He got Heyman.
Yep.
A bit of a expletive that had to be bleeped.
Yeah, first time I've seen that for a while.
Yeah. But then Lesnar came out, attacked Punk, and then a nasty-looking F5 onto that announce table.
That was a nasty-looking F5. It did not land well.
No, I'm not sure if CM Punk fell victim to a non-breaking table again, or...
Yeah.
But it definitely looked like he might be ripping his staples open.
I tell you what, didn't CM Punk honestly look like the underdog for the first time in a long time?
Yeah.
I actually think that this is something that is going to drag out right till Mania season.
Yeah.
If it doesn't drag out to Mania season, I think they're wasting a massive angle, because this is a true underdog story, this one.
Fair enough.
You look at how small Punk is next to... I mean, Punk... We all know Punk's the smaller guy, but he always looks like even against Cena, and Cena's a big guy, he looks like he belongs in the ring with Cena.
Yeah.
But next to Lesnar, he looks like me, and I'm a wiry dude.
Yeah. Okay, the main event of the night, Rob Van Dam took on Chris Jericho.
Those two are amazing in the ring together.
Yep.
Welcome back, RBD.
Fair enough.
And having two of the best old hands that are still in the business in the ring at the same time, it was cool.
Yeah, it was a great match between the two of them. They both put on a good show and should have impressed Cena.
Should have.
Because that was his next part, as he was picking his opponent for SummerSlam.
Yes.
He suggested a fair few names that the crowd didn't exactly enjoy.
Yes.
But, of course, the crowd wouldn't shut up.
Yes.
And they had who they wanted.
Yes.
And I think Cena went along with them.
Yes.
And picked Daniel Bryan.
Yes!
It should be a good match between the two.
It's going to be amazing. I love Bryan. I've loved Bryan since before he was in the WWE.
Yep.
When he came over to the WWE, I was stoked. Then they dropped the ball. But now this guy is about to have the biggest run of his career.
Fair enough.
He's an amazing worker. I love Daniel Bryan.
Okay.
And you can see him, look, I'm even growing my own...
beard.
In honour of Daniel.
Okay, so now the second part of that interview.
So, Scarlett, coming up, when's your next big fight?
I've got one coming up this Saturday facing JP again, so that'll be the third time I've faced up with her. That's for the Guns and Hoses charity event in Masterton, so it's a police versus fire service boxing show, which is going to be pretty interesting to be part of. There's 1,600 tickets sold already, so it's going to be absolutely
Wow,
crazy.
that's going to be an amazing crowd.
Yeah, insane. So I'm really looking forward to that, just for the feeling of walking out in front of that many people and giving them a bit of a taste of Kiwi wrestling. And then after that, I've got another bout scheduled for September for Maniacs United up in Auckland, facing off against Angel.
Oh, wow.
So that's really exciting. She's teeny tiny, so I can just hiss her around. I can't wait to do that.
Yeah, just going to throw her around the ring.
Yeah, pretty much. I love suplexing people, so I want to just sort of see how far I can throw her. It's going to be a lot more fun than it should be. I shouldn't take so much pleasure in throwing small people around, but if I can, I might as well do it.
That's the one.
Yeah. And then, the biggest show, all of these matches are really just feeding in and training me up towards November the 2nd is like Halloween Howl, which is definitely the biggest show for Kiwi Pro Wrestling for the year. And that's my women's championship match, so it's all, my eyes are on the prize, so to speak.
Yeah, so this is the big match that you just earned the right to compete in.
Yeah, so I've got that number one contenders spot, so I'm not risking losing that again, so I'm focused on that, yeah.
Are we going to be seeing more of KPW up this end of the country?
I'd say so, yeah. I think you'll definitely be seeing a lot of our roster members up, especially around the Auckland area. We did shows in Tauranga and things as well, so hopefully we'll be back there. But we've got Graham Hughes, who's a fantastic wrestler from the UK. He's now based out of Auckland, and he's now started the Hughes Academy of Professional Wrestling, so they are training up-and-coming wrestlers up there, and they ran a show in May. And I'd say there'll be more frequent shows happening up there, so we can get all of our guys a bit more exposure in the top of the North Island.
You have to get some more matches here in Hamilton as well.
I'd love to wrestle in Hamilton. I lived in Hamilton for 8 or 9 years. I've got family in Ngāruawā here as well, so yeah, it would be a huge buzz to wrestle in Hamilton. So I'll definitely be pushing for that.
Awesome.
What do you think of the current Divas roster over in WWE?
It's interesting, you feel like you probably shouldn't like them so much because a lot of them don't seem to fulfill what you think a female wrestler should be. Girls like the Bella Twins, they're probably not in there for their skill, but yeah, I watched one of the Bellas, I can't tell the difference, one of the Bellas versus Naomi the other night. And I was actually really impressed with the match. They did really well. And, you miss girls like Beth Phoenix, you miss Lita, Molly Holly, those girls that could get in there and really wrestle. But I think the current Divas, they're pretty good. Yeah, we shouldn't mock them just because they're pretty.
And what are your thoughts on the TNA Divas, what are they called? Knockouts roster?
It's up and down, eh? Like, you can't go past Gail Kim. She's amazing. And the ladder match she had with Taryn Terrell, like, people are hyping that as not just a great women's ladder match, just a great straight-up ladder match. And to see girls in there performing at that level, it gives you chills, really. So they are fantastic. And, yeah, I think TNA, because they tend to give the girls a little bit more leeway, give them a bit more time, and then you get to really see the talent that they've got. So, yeah, I like it. They've got a good mix. I love ODB. I love,
ODB's awesome.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun to watch, for sure.
So, good luck with the upcoming match this weekend.
Emily?
Where can people find tickets?
Tickets for that one, the Guns N' Hoses show, will be at the door in Masterton. So, it's Genesis Energy Centre. It's a big rec centre they've got there. And for the other events, Maniacs United in September, you can just get tickets via maniacsunited.co.nz. And Kiwi Pro Wrestling in November through kiwiprowrestling.co.nz. All the information will be available on there shortly. So, yeah, checking out the website. And you can always follow me on Facebook, Facebook.com/Scarlett Wrestler. And no doubt I'll be pumping all of our shows on there.
And, of course, on Twitter as well?
And on Twitter, my Twitter handle is AngieBabyNZ, or you just hunt for Scarlett. You just look for things that Phis been retweeting. That'll be me.
Okay, well, it's been great talking to you.
Yeah, it's been awesome.
And we can't wait to see you up here in a match in Hamilton.
Yeah, make sure you come along, and I'll make sure that we get there, definitely. It's on my plan, so just got to get a ring and some other wrestlers, and we'll do it.
Let's go.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Scarlett.
No problem.
Well, I gotta say, it's actually been quite a good month or so for New Zealand wrestling. as a whole. There's a couple of New Zealand wrestlers, Brother T, who now wrestles under the name TK Cooper. He wrestled 3 matches for LDN Wrestling over in the United Kingdom. And Travis Banks, who wrestled for IPW as well, just started a 3-month tour with Stevie Richards over in the USA. Also, one of New Zealand's top wrestling promotions, IPW, has been revived, and it's got its Revival of the Fittest pay-per-view coming up this weekend on Saturday up in Auckland. A couple of the main matches is a fatal 4-way for the vacated IPW Heavyweight Championship, where Kingy will take on Vinnie Dunn, Joseph Kincaid, and James Shaw. And there's also a triple threat for the vacated IPW Women's Championship, where Brittany takes on Evie and Olivia Shaw. For the vacated IPW Tag Team Championship, there's going to be a couple of ranking matches. Ruben De Jong and Alfred Valentine are going to take on Jacob Cross and Aaron Henry, while Joel Clementson and Pirate Burns are going to take on Antonio and someone making their IPW debut. Okay, so that's it for Wrestling Roundup for another week. I've been your host, Grady Hooker. We've also had Phid, an interview with KPW's Scarlett. If you want the full interview, uncut and uninterrupted, you can visit our Facebook page, facebook.com/Wrestling Roundup Radio, or our Twitter page, twitter.com/Wrestling R Radio. I'll see you next week.